All of you, hope you guys are great. So this is the third video of our open source project contribution. I hope you guys are enjoying the playlist. In the last video we have learned about that how you can contribute into a open source project. In this video we'll try to understand that what and how we can represent ourselves in open source contribution project, because every single open source project is different from one another. The architecture is different, the tone of the talking is different, the community is different. So representing yourself in the best possible manner in the open source contribution community is really very important, and how you can take that approach, and that's what we're going to master in this particular tutorial. Let me give you a small analogy that how you can introduce yourself into an open source community. For anything more than a type of fix, like contributing to an open source is like walking up to a group of strangers at a party, and if you start talking about the limbs while they are deep in discussions about the goldfish, then they will probably look at you like little strangely, okay, what this guy is talking about. So you have to match up your tone with their tone with the topic. So understand the tone which are there in the community. If you talk about the forum, users are talking in which tone, what they are discussing, what are the topics which they are covering in the library. So understand the room. That's what I mean by that. So let's talk about some important topic which I think which is really very important for most of the new developer who wants to contribute into the open source project. Like, you have to understand the anatomy of any open source project. We human have our structure, leg, hand, like stomach, and we have a proper anatomy. So in the same way, every single project has its own anatomy. You have to understand that. So every open source community is different from one another. That's the first thing you have to keep in mind. And if you spending years on one open source project means you have got to know one open source project. You might find vocabulary, noun, and communication styles are completely different. So many open source projects follow a similar organizational structure. Understanding the difference between the community roles and overall process will help you get quickly oriented to any new project. So these are the couple of things which you have to keep in mind. Like, a typical open source project has the following types of peoples. First, understand the people, the developer who are being a part of that project. First one is the author, the person or organization that created the project. So understand about them. Then talk about the second thing is the owner, the person who has administrative ownership of the organization or repository. So understand about that. Then we have another level called maintainers, contribution who are responsible for driving the vision and managing the organization aspect of the project. Then we have the contributors, everyone who can contribute something back to the project, like everyone. And then we have the community members, people who use the project. They might be active in the conversation or express their opinion on the project direction. So these are the couple of things, the couple of structure we have in the open source. All the open source have the same structure. First is author, owner, maintainer, contributor, and community member. So understand about all of this. So like, bigger project may also have a sub communities or working groups focus on a different tasks, such as tooling, triggering, community moderations, and event organizing. So look on a project website for a team page. Okay, so every single repository has a team page where you can have a look, or in the repository for governance documentation to find the information about the project and involvement of the user. So look at the documentation about the project. And every project also has a documentation. These files are usually listed in the top level of your repository. So like, there are tons of things you will find. You will find the license, you will find readme, you will find the contributing, you will find the code of conduct, you will find other documentation. So when it's come to the licensing, you can simply, by definition, every open source project must have an open source license. That's the idea you need to have. If the project does not have a license, it's not an open source. So that thing you have to know. Let's talk about the readme. The readme is the instruction manual that's welcome new community members to the project. It explains why the project is useful and how to get started. You will find all the information in the readme. Third, we have the contributing. Whereas the readme file, people use the project contribution doc help people contribute to the project. It explains what type of contributions are needed and how the project works. While not every project has a contributing file, so that's the thing you have to keep in mind. Now comes the code of conduct. The code of conduct set group rules to participate, behavior, association to help, to facilitate a friend, welcoming environment. While not every project has a code of conduct, that's the one thing you have to keep in mind. So if you go to the open source project, you will find that some of them will have, some of them will not have. Mainly you will find all of this in a bigger project, not on the small project. So that's the thing. And the last one we have is the documentation or the documentation. There might be additional documentation such as tutorial, walkthrough, or governance policy, especially a bigger project like if I talk about the Astro Doc, like they have all of this. So once you understand all of this, then move to the next step of our open source. Like open source project are use the following tools to organize discussion. Reading through the archive will give you a good picture of how the community thinks about the work. So that will help you. So learn about the issue tracker where people discuss issue related to the project. Learn about the pull request where the people discuss the review change that are in process, whether it is improve contributor line of a code, gamer use, grammar use of image, etc. Some of the project, like if you talk about the MDN web docs, you can have a look on that and you can perform certain auction if you really want to become a valuable contributor. Then focus on the third step, like discuss forum and mailing list. Like some project may use this channel for conversational topics. After that, you have to learn about the synchronous and chat channel. So you might be thinking that what it is. Like some project use chat channels, so like we have a discords, we have multiple forum, we have a group. So try to be a part of that, because every single channel have a different tone of representation. So like some channel have a formal way of, some have a casual, some have a code one. So you have to understand. So when you understand all of the things about a project, you will know that how you can present yourself in each one of the channel, and that will going to give you a good advantage when you will pitch any idea. When you try to contribute, your idea is going to be listened by other contributor members or the higher authority in the organization of that particular repository. So these are the things which you can use it to identify and represent yourself in best possible manner in the open source contribution. So I hope you guys have got a complete idea that how you can scan the anatomy of any open source project and become ready before you start contributing into the project. So hope you guys have got an idea that how you can represent yourself in a best possible manner, what are things you have to keep in mind, how to get the information about the open source, what are the channels we can introduce, what are the things we have to look on to understand the tone. And that's the only thing I want to cover in this video. Hope you guys have found this video valuable. And so in the next video, we're going to cover the next topic, that finding a project to contribute. So that's going to be a very important topic which you have to know. So let's move to that.